Hello there. Welcome back to Tales from Tosche Station. Well, guys, that was the Empire. Pretty good, I would say. I've got my critiques. I've got my likes. I've got my dislikes, and well, I have to tell you all about them. So, Chewy, good, punch it. Let's get into it, baby. This breakdown, this video is going to be a little bit different from my Bad Batch videos. I'm going to try to change the format up a little bit instead of just reading off my notes like I was before, not really engaging. I'm going to kind of just give my general thoughts of both arcs in general, Morgan's and Barris's, and just say what I liked, what I didn't like, stuff like that. So let's start with Morgan Elsbeth. And the thing that I really enjoyed in her arc, specifically in the first episode, is the fact that we got to see the Separatist army actually look like an army for once. And not only look like an army, but look fierce, look ferocious, fearsome, and just downright deadly. I mean, we open on the attack on Dathomir when they wipe out the entirety of the Night Sisters clan. I mean, to my knowledge, the only Night Sisters that we know of that survived that attack are Morgan and Marin. To my knowledge, that's all. And it was refreshing to see the Separatist army actually look like a threat instead of the bumbling, fumbling villain of the week style comedy gag that we saw in Clone Wars. And I'll even extend that to the Attack of the Clones and more so Revenge of the Sith. With how they treated the battle droids in that movie. And speaking on that, we got to see Grievous in probably his best form since the Gindi Clone Wars, the 2D animation way back in the early 2000s, when he first got introduced. And I mean, I loved it, seeing Grievous just be that force of nature that he was introduced as. I mean, he's out here killing Night Sisters left, right, and center, cackling and just telling Morgan and whoever else is within distance to run. And it was just, I mean, I can't speak enough on the fact that we got to see Grievous as an actual villain for once, not a coward that we see him in Revenge or the villain of the week twirling mustache villain that he is in Clone Wars. We actually get to see him be just fearsome and downright scary, which I applaud the people over at Lucasfilm Animation for doing what they did, and giving that character more depth and just allowing him to have a moment in the sun, essentially. I know me and a lot of other fans are were excited to see Grievous, and that just what he did there, just oh man, it was beautiful. So after all this, Morgan gets picked up by the Mountain Clan, which I don't believe we've seen in live action, or we've seen a lot of media on them. If there's some more media, please tell me down below. Tell me in the comments and kind of enlighten me. Um, and the thing that I found interesting about the mountain tribe of Dathomir, to me, it looked like they were essentially the light side version of the Night Sisters, or at least that's how it came off to me. Is they're the pacifist version of the Night Sisters. They use the same kind of magic, but in a Jedi style. Like they don't fight unless they have to, and that was evident throughout the episode. Um, Especially at the end of it when Morgan takes the matriarch's daughter and her friends to go get the weapons, and we just see they get ambushed. The matriarch's daughter gets killed because of Marin. Um, the matriarch has to come in, do some like essentially force repulse, takes out the entire CSI or um, CIS, sorry, and then essentially banishes Morgan, says you're not welcome here anymore. And I really, I just really enjoyed that first episode. I really enjoyed the first episode Morgan's uh of Morgan's story. Now, going on to episode 2, and this was probably my favorite. My favorite Morgan episode was the second one because it added more depth to her character and actually made sense as to why Thrawn was interested in her, and that's the TIE Defender program. I liked the idea that the TIE Defender program wasn't Thrawn's idea. That the whole reason that he brought Morgan on was because she's the one that thought up the TIE Defender program, and essentially the Imperial Moff basically told her it's a good idea, but it's way too expensive. We're never going to go for it. So everybody leaves. Captain Pell and Thrawn's right hand man, Captain Pelion, shows up and basically says, "You've got good ideas, and essentially my commander will be in touch." And so she goes back to Corvus. Everyone calls her a witch because they basically were expecting the Empire to give them jobs, to take this idea that Morgan has and basically make the planet a ton of money. Doesn't happen. Everyone's calling her a witch, a traitor, yada yada yada. And then sometime later we see Rook or Rook, not sure how to pronounce that name, shows up, starts fighting her. And the fight goes on pretty for a few minutes, and it was all just a ruse to essentially test Morgan's abilities. As Captain Pelion shows up and says, basically, we had to test your skills, and it's going to become evident in a moment. And he walks off, and then I think the first thing we hear is Thrawn's piano theme. I think it's the first thing we hear, and then we hear Thrawn, and then we see them. We see the greatest admiral that the Empire has ever created. And it just, his presence is, every time I watch Thrawn live action in Rebels, here, the guy that voices him, I'm blanking on his name right now. He brings the presence of Thrawn. I am during that whole scene, I was on the edge of my seat just watching it, just watching and just listening to what he was saying. And essentially, he says that Morgan's TIE Defender program is exactly what he's looking for, and that the Empire, for all of its grand designs and just the beast that it's become, it's grand, but their cracks starting to show. He says all of his superiors look at a broader scale, never small, where things begin to happen, where mistakes start to happen. And he essentially asks Morgan why she wants imperial favor, and she tells him revenge, and her revenge gives her strength, and that's what she offers the Empire. As he says, accepted, as we see a portion of his fleet come to Corvus and begin the TIE Defender program, thus ending the second episode. Seeing Thrawn in this episode, just seeing him in Clone Wars animation was just something else. He looked so good in Clone Wars animation. And call me a Thrawn stan, I'll happily wear that badge. But I need more. I want more of animated Thrawn. We need more storytelling. I mean, make an animated series of the Thrawn books. Same animation, him, Anakin, fighting the Yuzong Vong. I'm here for it. Do it. Come on, Disney. Give it to us. So the next, her last episode is essentially where we see her getting set up in where we see her in Mando, and this is, in my opinion, is the weakest of her episodes. Not really not much happens here, and essentially a new Republic envoy comes in and says, basically, hey, we want you in the New Republic, but you gotta stand trial for everything done, yada yada yada. Morgan says no, not gonna happen. So she kills the guards, the envoy, blows the ship up, and then sets the forest on fire to where we see Corvus in Mando, where we first see Ahsoka. And that's essentially what happens in that last episode. I'm blasting past it because I really want to talk about Barris. So let's go ahead and pop that open. So Barris Offee. Her story begins the night of Order 66. I'm pretty sure she's having a vision of Order 66. She can hear what's going on. She gets woken up. She sees the temple's on fire. Goes to the guard outside of her cell and says, "What the heck's going on?" And he's like, tells her, "Be lucky you're not a Jedi anymore. By this time tomorrow, ain't none of them gonna be alive." So we go to the next day, or some time passes. I'm gonna guess it's the next day, or there very soon after. The fourth sister from the Obi-Wan series, or she's called in this show, Lynn, shows up, recruits 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 Barris. They go to the Fortress Inquisitorius as it's being built, and we see Dante and um, another former Jedi apprentice. I don't think he's named, or if he is, I didn't pay attention close enough. But anyways, the Grand Inquisitor comes in and basically says that he, that the Republic's fallen, and that the Jedi have fallen with it. Um, and this order is going to replace the Jedi Order. It's talking about the Inquisitorius. So they get taken. GI takes Barris with her to essentially test her skills, and I'm gonna skip ahead to the third episode real quick. She says that a darkness took her in the third episode, and I don't really believe that. I view this more as of a she had to do what she needed to stay alive, and I didn't really feel in this episode that she turned to the dark side per se. More so that she kind of just had to do what she had to do. But I'll get to that later on. So the GI tests her skills, and she gives into her anger a little bit, gets a good hit off on the GI. GI essentially breaks her nose and sends her back to her cell. The other and I might be getting things mixed up here. The other one of the other apprentice runs off. Yeah, I'm getting things mixed up. So that happens first. The other apprentice runs off. The Grand Inquisitor basically says he ran off, he got killed, things happened. Then the GI takes her and tests her skills, and then we see Dante and Barris in a enclosed laser field with one lightsaber, and the GI is basically saying, one of you's coming out of here alive, and if neither one of you fight, both of you are going to die. And through a moment of intense stress and desperation, Barris uses force grip to snap this kid's neck. So that's why I say that Barris isn't didn't truly turn to the dark side, and we get that more in the second episode. Um, and she passed the test. She becomes part of the Inquisitorius, and the episode ends with Barris, the fourth sister, and the two Ahsoka casualties coming in as Big Papa Vader, Anakin himself, Vader, walks in right past Barris, doesn't say a thing, sits down. Barris says, "For the Empire," and then the episode ends. Next episode, Barris and the fourth sister are sitting on a recon mission to take out some Jedi's or one Jedi rather, on a mountaintop. Basically, the thing that we see in this episode is, like I said, I don't think Barris really turned. It was more of I'm doing what I need to do. type situation, and we see that when they're on this planet, that she's having a change of heart. She's not wanting to do this. She's kind of seeing what the Empire's doing, that things have kind of been left to rot. People are afraid. People are terrified. Her and the fourth sister go into this village trying to find this Jedi. And the fourth sister kind of goes off the hinges ever so slightly, does a slight genocide of an entire town as Barris tries to help a kid keep keep the kid protected. And as they're making their way to this Jedi, Barris is essentially saying, "Why are we doing this? Why are we killing an entire village just to get to a Jedi?" As they get to this Jedi, the fourth sister gets knocked out when they first start fighting this Jedi, and Barris is essentially pleading with this unnamed Jedi while they're fighting, to surrender, to back down, to stop fighting. Aren't you tired of fighting? And the Jedi brings his guard down, but the fourth sister kills him. And that's when Barris basically makes a stand and says, "You still got one more Jedi to deal with," and Force pushes the fourth sister off a cliff. And that's the last we see of her in this episode, at least. As Barris takes this unnamed Jedi, I think he's still alive, and they leave. We cut to the third episode where it starts on an ice planet. This mother, father, and a baby are trying to find a force healer. And the force healer is, spoiler alert, it's Barris. I'm not sure, it's not stated when in the Age of the Empire this is happening, but it's got to be close or during the events of the original trilogy, because Barris looks like she's got a couple she's got some city miles on her, and she's essentially turned from the dark path she was going down and became a force healer. And she basically tells this family that during the times of the Jedi, this baby would have been taken by the Jedi and trained as a Jedi, and all that good stuff. And as she's telling her this, there's literally a change in the wind. The candles go out, the wind shifts everything, as we see the fourth sister coming towards her to look at the child, but happens to find Barris. As she tells them to leave, get on a spaceship and go to an old friend. Gonna get to that in a second. She goes to engage the fourth sister to give them some time, and she kind of force foods the crap out of the fourth sister, and is just dodging her attacks left, right, center. Taunts her a little bit, saying that your anger's putting you off balance. You can't hit me, and she is telling her, if you go into this cave to try to go find them, you're not gonna find a way out. And she just steps aside and lets her go. And while in there, the kid and the kid, the parents, and the other her servants get off planet and go to that friend, who I will get to in a minute. And then we see the fourth sister kind of start losing it in this cave, as Barris is talking to her, saying that it's not too late. She can turn back. She's not what she's become. Yada yada yada. And then inadvertently, the fourth sister stabs Barris in the stomach. Now, the episode ends with the fourth sister getting Barris out of the ice cave after Barris essentially tells her that you know the way out. And the fourth sister turns away from the ways of the Inquisitors just like she did. And A, Barris got stabbed in the stomach, so per Disney Star Wars logic, she's fine. She's not dead because she got stabbed in the stomach. Apparently, people don't get killed when they get stabbed in the stomach, at least in Disney Star Wars. So she's alive, and I think I think I know. I think I know. I think you know. I think everybody knows what that's setting up. Um, but more on that in a second. I'm gonna just talk about what I liked and what I didn't like about this episode. About these episodes, there's not much I didn't like about both arcs. I really enjoyed the more fleshed out backstory of Morgan and giving her a reason as to why um Theron picked her up, and that's because of the Tide Defender series or Tide Defender program. And just giving a random character more backstory. I'm always up for that, especially one like Morgan and how they tied her together with the Night Sisters. I like that. And now let's pivot to the star of this series, which was Barris. I really liked it. I really liked what they did with her series, with her episodes. It's not what I was expecting. I was expecting for her to go completely dark, and that's not what happened. Um, I like I said earlier, I think I'm gonna lump her in with the Cal Kestises of the world. I don't think she's turned to the dark side. I don't think she ever did turn to the dark side. I think in that moment, I think she just had to do what she needed to survive, to get by, and that was join the Inquisitorius because that was the only path forward, and that's the only thing. That's the only thing she could do. I mean, immediately after she joined, she turned back the light, like almost immediately. And then we saw that she essentially becomes a force healer. And I think the reason they didn't kill her off is because it's setting up that we're going to see her in Ahsoka season 2. I think that's what's going to happen. I think her and the fourth sister, or maybe just her, either show up on Peridia and are looking for Ahsoka, or they help Hera and Ezra get ready to fight Thrawn since he's back in the regular galaxy. But overall, I think leaving Barris alive is setting up something in Ahsoka season 2. What that is, I'm not sure yet. But overall, I really enjoyed both Tales of the Empire and Tales of the Jedi. They need to do more of these because it's got a lot of untapped potential. There's a lot of different avenues they could go down. And I know I'm not the only person that said that. I've been seeing that a lot on different videos and different posts on Instagram. That I mean, it's boundless. There's not really anything they can't touch with this Tales of the Fill in the Blank anthology series, and I've really enjoyed it so far. I think everybody has. More Clone Wars animation is always a good thing, especially with how crisp they've gotten it lately. But overall, those are my thoughts, and yeah, I think they were just really good episodes and just add a lot of really good backstories. So you guys know how to close this thing. Until next time. Force be with you.